everyone, Linda here, the Scrapbooking photographer, joining you today to take part in a new hop called Rainbow Crush, run by Tara O'Rourke from the Paper Snob community. And Tara is setting us a colour each month to be our main focus. And this month, you'll never guess from the photos that I choose that the colour this month is blue. So I'll just get set up here while I talk you through a couple of things. This is going to be a double page spread. And I'm also going to try and use up these scraps that were given to me as part of wrapping paper. It is Stampin' Up paper, but it was used to wrap a gift for me, which was lovely. But I'm going to use that, and that will also be using up scraps for January's hop, Baby's Got Scraps. Now the other hop that I'm taking part in here is one called Get in Shape, which has been run this year by Miranda Weber. And this month the shape we're working with is circles. So what I've done here is, before I came on camera, I've just trimmed 1/4 of an inch off 3 sides of the white willow to give us a little outline of the midnight navy around the outside. What I did was actually cut 1/2 an inch off one side and 1/4 of an inch off another. So just 2 cuts will give us the 3-sided frame. And I've actually got one of these photos printed big, which will just suffice as a background. And this was when I was in Africa quite a few years ago, actually 5 years ago, and we sat Vigil one night and watched this leopard until she decided to go and have a little snack from her catch in the tree. Full disclosure, the last photos in this series do have some blood visible, but what I thought I would do is just make all of these smaller photos into circle shapes and work around this big scene setter in the background. We're also going to put some mixed media in behind everything. So the first thing I've got to do is cut these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 photos into circles. And I thought I would use the deckled circles from Stampin' Up, and I'm going to use a big one over here to provide a bit of a journaling box. And then this is the biggest one that would work on a 4x6 photo without going off the edge, and some of them need that so that I can get the tail and the face in with a little bit of room around the outside. This one I felt was a little smaller, being part of the scene, and this one I thought I'd just pop up there just to make a third one, but I'm not sure if I'm going to use that or not. But it might work quite well for these ones down here so that I can fit the 3 in the width. So what I'm going to do is go and cut all those out, then come back and decide if we want to mount any of them at all. So I'll be back in just a tick. So now I've cut out the deckled shape, which I quite like the way it roughs up the edges. I'm thinking that we'll have to make sure we get these in the right way so that the leopard is always on the right angle. And then we'll put a big one in here. I'm not quite sure what colour to make this journaling box yet, so I'm just going to hold fire on that until I've got that side finished, and I'll link those 3 together that way. And then I thought I might use these scraps to join these together somehow. But before we go any further, what I want to do is some mixed media in the background. So now I know the basic layout of the photos, I can just do a quick sketch of where they are and then work around them. So this is going to be a big circle kind of there and then there. And then this one's going to be all the way along the bottom. Hopefully I'll remember where those go when I come back. I'll just put them to one side. We'll do one page at a time. So this is the left-hand page. What I'm going to use is these Distress Oxides just on a block. I've got a relatively big block here. I'm I don't really know what this is going to turn out like, so we'll just have a bit of a look, shall we? Now, distress oxide inks react with water, so I'm just going to spray some water on the top of that, make it go a little bit further and get that reaction going, and then mix it up on my block and just smush it around. A little bit square up there, so we don't want that. And then I wonder what's it like if I just do it directly on the block. That might get us a bit better coverage. That might be better. The only other blues I've got are quite aquary, really. I'll just try this once more with the chipped sapphire. And I'll clean up, and just while we're experimenting, have a go with the Stampin' Up! Ink pad. I'll put the Night of Navy on the block and give that a bit of a go. It's quite kind of runny. We'll just let it get outside the square dots a bit. We'll go underneath where the photo's going. I quite like that. I'll bring that. Just kind of putting it around the outside a little bit. And I'll put that to one side to dry. Have a little clean up, I think. And then do the other one. Now, I quite like the combination of the blues, so I'm going to do some on this side with the distress oxides first as well. And I think I got it wrong before. It's not chipped sapphire that I liked as the blue. The chipped sapphire is the more purpley one. But we will put a little bit of that in on the right hand side because I just want it to blend and kind of balance with what we put on the left hand side. We've got our circle here, so we might put some of this down here. Putting the two together looks like a hot mess at the moment, but it will look better once everything dries and we get some photos on top of it, which is the plan. A little bit more chipped sapphire, not too much. Faded Jeans is this darker denim-y looking one, which I guess is why it's called Faded Jeans. And we'll just put a little bit of this down here. Okay. And then we'll do a bit more Night of Navy, which is this nice dark rich blue, which I think will work quite well with the photos. I'll put that underneath where the journaling box is going to go, and down on this corner here. just kind of dabbing it around the edge to get that colour on top of the white. And I'll pop that to one side to dry and have a clean up. So I really like the way that forms a bit of a background, but I would like the Night of Navy to be more around the edge. So I'm just going to use my little dauber on here. And just go around the edge of this white willow, which will help it blend just a little bit easier into that background that we've got. And I think it worked well using the Stampin' Up ink as well as the Distressed Oxides, because the colours work quite well together, and it also helps to make that link between the colours of the mixed media and the Night of Navy on the background. I'm looking forward to seeing what the others come up for in these hops. The Rainbow Crush is a new one, so we don't know what next month's colour is, but we do know the shapes for Get in Shape. We have them outlined for the whole year, so it gives us an opportunity to work a little bit in advance. But the Get in Shape and Rainbow Crush hops are scheduled for exactly the same time each month, so it's probably inevitable that they will be combined most times. I have gutted the back of these too now, but I don't think these need to be mounted. So I'm just going to leave them the way they are. Okay, so we need to pick a colour to go in here. I found another scrap, which I hope is going to be big enough for... Yes, it will be. So if I pop this behind here, I believe this colour is called Misty Moonlight. It's quite nice the way it coordinates with these photos. So what I'm going to do is use the bottom half, or the bottom bit of this that's left over, just to make some strips to link these ones up. I've made them both 1.5 inches high, which I think will work fine. And I'll also bring in a narrower strip of the striped paper. So I've gone 3/4 inch with that, and I think that'll leave enough either top and bottom for us to get an idea of the colour behind. Start sticking these things down soon, and that one in between there and that one in between there. Right, so we get the idea of what's going to happen there when we stick it all down. And now I'd also like to use some more of this up here somewhere. So again, I've trimmed it the same width as this so that it sort of balances. If I tear that there, that gets us enough to go, I think. Make it enough. Let's move that one over a bit. Amazing what you can find in your scrap folder if you actually go there first instead of getting a new piece of cardstock out of the drawer. So now we've got everything stuck down, and I do quite like the way that the darker chit sapphire sort of comes in here, here and here in those 3 different areas. I do think there's a little bit too much white here and here. So what I thought I might do is cut a couple of circles out of the backdrop of the Night of Navy, not deckled ones, just plain ones, and pop them in behind here and there, so we can add some embellishment areas. And I might do another small one here as well, but I think I'm going to emboss them just to give a little bit more depth and texture to the page. I've just popped them through the embossing folder the once, and I think if we tuck these into here, sort of like that, up there and up there, I'll pop that one up there. This whole experience was just amazing on safari in South Africa. We knew that this leopard had hidden the carcass up in the tree, and she was just guarding it, and we knew eventually she would move. And she took her sweet time looking at us, posing, having a big yawn, and then she gradually worked her way down to where the pantry was. It was really quite something to see. Anyway, I will stick these down and we'll do a little bit more embellishing. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to use to embellish. I did find this in my stash, so I thought I might use that and just buff the edges up with that Night of Navy ink so that it kind of looks the part. And I've also got this little punch of a camera, and it was a photographic safari that I was on. Absolutely fabulous sights for the whole 8 days that I was there. Just amazing. And I might just put those on there somehow like that. And I have cut out a couple of leopards in the misty moonlight. I'll stamp them in the Night of Navy, and we'll see what they look like anyway. So we'll get our foam background, because it's always good to stamp with a little bit of sponge behind. Right. Ooh, need to wipe that all off before we go anywhere near it. Don't want that all over the sponge background. It's a fairly new ink pad, so I think that's why it does that. Right, we'll try and line this up. Some people cut first and then stamp, and others stamp first and then cut. I haven't worked out which one I prefer yet, but these ones I have cut first. That's a better job with the stamping. We'll just see what this guy looks like on here. The embellishing of the pages is my challenge this year. That's what I really want to get better at. He looks alright. And I've also cut out the letters for the heading out of the Stampin' Up! Mini alphabet. I'm thinking I might just use this black piece of the bottom of the photograph so that it's kind of in the background there. Right, I'll get those letters organised. So if we line these letters up along the bottom, we'll see if we can get them reasonably evenly spaced to say Blue Hour Vigil. Like that, with the magic of technology, I can show them all done. So I'll just do my journaling off camera. Right, so we've done the journaling, and I've decided I am going to put just the front end of this leopard, just hiding out from behind that extra little circle there. So that gives us 3 little things there in the one spot. And if I stick this down as well, so it is fairly blue, so it meets the criteria for the Rainbow Crush this month, which is blue. It's also used several different circles, so that meets the criteria for Get in Shape. And we've also used scraps here and there, so Baby's Got Scraps is satisfied as well. Thank you so much for watching today. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you've already subscribed to my channel, thank you so much. If you haven't, then I'd love to have you on board. So if you push that subscribe button, and also in the description is a link to the other videos for Baby's Got Scraps and Rainbow Crush and Get in Shape. So enjoy all that is on offer there for inspiration for those topics. And I think that's probably about all we're going to do here. There'll be some close-ups at the end of the video for you to have a look at. Happy crafting, everyone!